A friend of mine lost her dog. Said, you know, you should look into adopting a puppy. And we saw where there was a puppy that looked identical to her dog. I went there. There was that little puppy, and I saw that all of these animals had red X's on their cages, and the red X meant their day was up. Something inside of me just snapped, and I came back the next day, and I took 34 animals. That's how Aliqua Animal Refuge began. We've grown from one volunteer in my backyard to over 400 volunteers, and now we are building an incredible future for Aliqua.
Standing here on this property is chilling.
We're going to create a welcoming home for all of the native wild animals that can't be released back into the wild. Right now we're in one of our dog adoption areas. Our county was without an animal shelter. 5 counties around us without animal shelters. But our operation is incredibly expensive to run. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. The food comes in 18-wheeler trucks. Sometimes these surgeries are in the thousands of dollars for one animal, but they're worth it. This is our new state-of-the-art x-ray machine, and this is just a game changer. It's so expensive to go to a vet's office. This is just amazing for us to have this on site. We definitely rely on volunteers to support our mission, and we have all of these people who have joined us to make this a reality.
Aliqua is one of the most extraordinary organizations of its kind anywhere in the country.
We have country music stars like Brian Kelly of the Florida Georgia Line.
Very lucky to have Aliqua Animal Refuge, such a massive part of our community.
Celebrities like Emerald Lagasse and his family.
So Laurie, continue doing what you're doing. We're behind you all the way.
And all of these people are behind us because they believe in what we're doing.
We just want to thank you
for saving all of the dogs and cats.
But we're doing so much more. We're changing the laws at state levels and national levels, so it makes it a better place for these animals. We were getting an abundance of horses with cruelty cases, and we decided that we could help people by giving these senior animals a job at equine therapy. Right now we work with handicapped individuals and autistic children and substance abuse groups, but we're going into PTSD patients. These animals at this property are what's healing them inside. And it's a place that people come to heal. So we're in one of our cat cabins right now, and we've made them into a little cat cafe. But we have cubby holes everywhere, and if you spin around, there's a cat everywhere you look. I see it where people want to make this their destination, and they plan their vacations around it. It's a place where school kids come out, and they know the name of every animal here, and this is where they want to come for their birthday parties. And we're truly making a difference in the big picture and in this animal movement that we've created. And finally, we're bringing all these people in to buy into our vision. And it only helps us when we're trying to do this legislative work, because they know that we're doing it for the right reasons, and they'll support anything that we bring to them and say this needs to change.
They have 100 acres that they want to continue to build on, but with that dream comes a responsibility to raise money to do it. So please help any way you possibly can.
Everything that's around me was once a dream. Now it's become a reality. It's like what they always say, you know, if you build it, they will come.
I deal with so many resource guarders, hundreds and hundreds every year in my board and train programs, in my private sessions, online. And I can tell you one thing, one bit of advice that I can give you. If you want to prevent resource guarding, or you already have a resource guarder, one of the most valuable things I can say to you is that free resources are unclaimed resources. And that means if you just leave the food down in the bowls, that's a free resource. and it's also unclaimed. If you leave toys and bones down all the time, those are free resources, and they are unclaimed. If your dog is allowed to access your affection and your space anytime that it wants, it's a free, unclaimed resource. And what happens over time is that your dog or dogs start claiming those resources more regularly. And then when someone tries to tell them, well, no, Scruffy, you can't have that bone right now, or you can't have affection right now, or you can't go into that particular place in the house right now, the dog says, no, dear, I've been claiming this all along. These resources are mine. And so what we want to do as the leaders of the household is we want to either claim resources while they are out, or we want to make sure that they are put away. So when I play with dogs, I bring the toy out for playtime, and when playtime is over, the toy goes away. When I bring food out, food is for training. It is not for just leaving out so that dogs can fight over it. Food is for training, and when the training session is done, food goes away. Affection has its certain place in my relationship with the dogs as well. It is not free access. You cannot come take it from me anytime that you want. You cannot demand it from me whenever you want. You can come in, and if I decide that it's time, an appropriate time for affection, I will give it to you, and we will share that bond, and then it will be over afterwards. The more that you claim and control resources, the less likely you are to have resource guarding, and the less likely your resource guarder is to continue resource guarding. Keep this in mind, especially if you have a multi-dog household. Have you ever heard of littermate syndrome amongst dogs? That's where you purchase or adopt two puppies from the same litter. Or sometimes littermate syndrome can occur, just two puppies that are adopted or purchased at the same time, even if they're from separate litters. And littermate syndrome is a really dangerous game. These are behavioral issues that can develop from having two puppies of the same age growing up together, whether littermates or not littermates. And this doesn't happen with all puppies that grow up together. It just happens often enough for us to take note of it. Littermate syndrome can mean that the puppies bond more with each other than they do with the human beings around them. So it's very difficult for them to train. It's also very difficult for them to learn to be independent from one another. So we get lots of separation anxiety issues that come along with that. In addition to that, because they bond so heavily with one another, very often they wind up becoming aggressive when their nature isn't necessarily aggressive. They're so bonded with this dog that they can't create good social behaviors with any other dogs. They're so bonded with this dog, they can't create good social behaviors with children and other people. So they wind up being reactive or aggressive because they've bonded too heavily with the puppy that they were adopted or purchased with. In addition to that, you can also get some other things that wind up being a problem. You ever heard of sibling rivalry, sibling jealousy, things like that? Well, sometimes if we purchase, especially dogs of the same gender, from a litter or from a rescue or shelter or something like that, very often these dogs will wind up butting heads when they go through sexual maturity, social maturity, etc. And we can get some very nasty fights that come out of this. So general rule of thumb, don't purchase puppies of the same age, don't adopt puppies of the same age at the same time. Try to stagger that out so we don't get dogs that are codependent or possibly aggressive towards one another or the world around them just because they bonded too heavily with the dog next to them rather than the people around them. Loving your dog isn't all about hugs and kisses and cuddles. Sometimes it's about having tough conversations with your dogs. My daughter's 10 years old, and sometimes I have to have tough conversations with her about the need to eat her vegetables, the need to go to bed at a reasonable hour, the need to do her homework or to get to school on time or, clean her belly button or whatever it is. Sometimes I have to have those more challenging conversations. And right now, she doesn't completely understand why I do challenge her on those situations. But when she turns 25 and becomes an adult, and she has really healthy teeth, and she has a good sleep cycle, and she finished school, and she has a good work ethic, and all of these other types of things, she's going to thank me. And she's going to see that for the love in which it was intended. The same thing's going to go for your dog. Sometimes you have to have challenging conversations with them about not attacking the neighbor's cat, or challenging conversations with them about not bolting out the front door, or challenging conversations with them about resource guarding or something like that, because these are all potential safety issues. These are all things that are going to destroy their quality of life over time. You can always give your dog love and kisses and cuddles, but it's really important to also show them that you love them by training them and having challenging conversations even when it's difficult for you.